Hello, Miss Renee.
Hi there, how are you?
I'm doing great. How you been?
I'm good, and I'm looking at, I have three monitors here. First of all, thank you for joining me so early. I have three
Sure.
monitors here. Excuse me. And I have to take apart one.
You want to share a monitor? There you are.
Oh, I'm already batting 1,000. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm
hmm
good. Yeah,
hmm
things are going well. You're off to a good start for the new year, although
Yeah,
we're already in the spring.
packed. Packed. I'm like backlogged until into July.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Good for
It's really
you.
cool. Yeah.
Aw, I just
How about
met,
you?
oh, I'm doing good. I was just in San Diego for the WIT Network conference.
Yes.
I spoke at that, and that was so much fun. I met so many IMC people. By the
Mhm.
way, I it was then that I learned that I didn't have to say IAMCP, that I could just say IMCP. So
Oh,
the things you learn.
there you go.
But I met somebody wonderful. I met Ashley for the first
Good.
time
I was
in
gonna say
person. She's so fabulous. I'm actually partnering with her organization to do
nice.
some skill development, leadership, things like that. So very excited.
Very
All right.
cool.
I just want to make sure I know how to share this because
Okay.
again, I don't know.
Click that
I see
share
the
button,
share.
and then you select, there's three tabs at the top. Go for screen, which
I
I
do
think
see
is the
that.
third
Okay.
one over.
Okay. I think I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
And lo and behold, upskilling for the job you want.
Yay! And it's the full screen, right? I have that
Yeah,
correct?
for sure.
Because I do have some notes. I just want to make sure you don't see them, just to
Okay.
keep me organized.
Yeah, I
Okay,
do the same thing.
excellent. Awesome. So you are also in California, right?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
So I'm in a town called Santa Clarita, which is small little town of 250,000 people at the foothill of the Grapevine on the north side of LA County. So between like
Yeah.
the San Fernando Valley and Bakersfield.
So San Clarita Diet, wasn't there a TV show?
Yep,
I thought
filmed
I
right
didn't
right
really
down the
watch
street.
it, but that's so funny. I
Yeah,
we being in San Diego, I've only been there once before. No wonder it's so freaking expensive. The climate is incredible.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
But right
America's
now,
finest city.
I know. Oh my
Mhm.
God. Right now we're in North Carolina. We're having pretty good weather. It's not humid yet, and we have the sunshine. So
But it is human.
not yet. It will be. It will
Uh,
be humid. Our
but it,
summers are horrible.
I was making a play on what you said. It's human.
Oh, it's human. I didn't hear. Oh, they said humid. Understood.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hey, how are you? It's been a
Cyrus.
while.
Hello.
Good to see you
Hi,
again.
Renee. Yeah, good to see you too.
Yeah. You always have the best backgrounds.
Thank you. Thank you. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Cyrus. How's it
Hello,
going?
hello. Good to see
Hey,
you, man.
you too.
Oh, and Jerry has a great background also.
Yeah.
Nice and relaxing.
I love it.
Cool. We usually have people trickle in after the hour. Alberto can't be here. I think Pavan will be here. Maybe one or two others.
Mhm.
And I am recording it, so we can clip it, or I don't have to post it, but I would love if we have your permission to do that.
Oh, of course. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Yay. We'll
Yeah.
tag you on LinkedIn. Be all fun.
Well, I'm ready when you are. If you want to wait for a couple more minutes, that's fine. But I don't have anything after this. So,
Yeah, and I normally do start with like a kickoff and say, here's our guest speaker. So I
Mhm.
am going to do that because Jerry, I don't know if you've met Renee. The
I
last
don't
time
think
she came
so.
through here was astounding. She has 30 years of guiding people and organizations to thrive. She's just passionate about what she does, helping professionals and leaders unlocking let's see, her three C's: clarity, confidence, and
Commitment.
commitment.
Good
So,
job.
yep. And so she kind of pushes this. She's a change maker. Like when I first read her bio, I saw that hashtag change maker. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then we got on the phone and talked about that. So it really is passion that drives helping people get better. She works with military personnel, Hire Heroes USA. She helps them and their spouses transition to the civilian workforce, which is no mean feat. And right now, veterans need as much as they can. So just got a heart of gold. Her mission's the same, sparking growth and lasting impact in people. And that's why she's just perfect to speak to us today, ladies and gentlemen. Renee Marchak.
Oh, thank you. So interesting when you hear someone else share your biography. And sometimes I'm like, who are they talking about? It just sounds so nice.
Yeah.
But it's so great to be here again. I love this group. So today we are going to be talking about upskilling for the job that you want. And I will get started. All right. Um, so let's start off with maybe something you already know, but most job seekers tend to fall into one of two extremes. On one side, they apply for roles that they're not qualified for and hope they will figure it out along the way. I'm a victim of that. And on the other side, they hold back completely because they don't feel ready yet. So either way, you feel stuck.
Mm.
So, the purpose of today's session is to empower you with a realistic and informed and actionable approach to leveling up your skills for a more meaningful career. And when people think about understanding their strengths, they often turn to tools like Strengths Finders, Myers-Briggs, DISC, Predictive Index. I don't know if any of these sound familiar, but they are
Oh, yeah.
all Yep, they're all great for helping you understand who you are, how you work, and how you show up. I encourage hiring managers to use it as they are assessing gaps in their teams where hiring decisions come in. But this framework is different. It's not focused so much on personality, it's really focused on opportunity because it draws on proven career development models, competency frameworks, skills gaps analysis, but brings them together in a simple and practical way to evaluate real job opportunities and identify exactly what skills you need to close the gap. So instead of asking, who am I? This framework asks, what does this job require? And how do my skills align to that? So here's how we're going to spend our time today. We will start by framing how to think about your career, moving from titles to skills. Oops, sorry, having a hard time maneuvering. There we go. Okay. Then I will show you how to get clear on your target role and the type of move that you want to make. Did I go back? Where am I? Oh
No,
my
you're
God, I'm
good.
driving myself crazy. Okay.
You're good.
From there, we will look at how to analyze job postings so that you can understand what the market is actually asking for. And then we're going to put the focus on you. You'll learn how to assess your current skills. So basically what you already have and where there is room to grow. And you'll also learn how to identify your skill gaps and then talk about how to prioritize them for bridging. And then we'll walk through how to build a simple, actionable learning plan, because if you've sat in any of my sessions, I don't like to just talk in theory. I want to make it practical and usable for you. And then finally, you will apply all of these skills to your own situation. And that's what I was talking about. The worksheet I'm going to give you will also include a reflection exercise, and that I'll go over with you at the end of the session. But let's start talking about what this workshop is and what it's not. So this workshop is a guide to making informed career decisions by applying a reusable framework for any role that you're working toward, a tool for growing with intention, and a system that prepares you for the next, I call it the next version of yourself. So what this workshop isn't, it's not a promise that you're ready for every role. It's not a certification checklist. And it's not encouragement to apply to every job that's out there either. So for most of our career, at least my experience, we were taught to think about advancement as climbing a ladder. You start in one role, you move up to the next level, and then the next level. But today, careers work differently. So instead of ladders, careers look much more like skill portfolios, where your opportunities expand as your skills expand. And professionals who stay competitive aren't necessarily the ones with the longest tenure or the most recognizable titles. They are the ones who continuously build and apply relevant skills. So if your career is a skill portfolio, then the next question is, how do you actually build one? And there are three key components to that. First, building relevant skills. This is about continuously aligning your abilities with your career goals. This is an ongoing process that will help you remain competitive and prepared for future opportunities. So it's not just about acquiring new knowledge, but it's also about refining existing skills that are crucial to your field. And the next is how to apply those skills. Actively applying your skills in real world situations grounds your knowledge, and seeking out opportunities to put what you've learned into practice helps bridge the gap between theory and application. It's really about stepping out and making your skills visible through tangible results. And finally, demonstrating measurable impact is key. It's important to quantify the positive results of your work. And this not only validates your efforts, but also communicates your contributions clearly to potential employers or stakeholders. And you'll want to think of ways that you can measure outcomes, whether it's through data, feedback, or successful project completions. So when you focus on these three areas, your skill portfolio becomes much more attractive for hiring managers. Now, let's talk about when you're in transition, because when people are in transition, this is where things often get challenging because titles don't always translate. As Jason said, I'm a volunteer career coach for Hire Heroes USA. And the military personnel I work with often struggle with this. Military titles are vastly different from civilian work titles, even if the responsibilities and the role look very similar. So skills that are obvious internally, like the military, aren't always visible externally. And sometimes the role requires skills that you haven't fully developed yet. So instead of feeling clear, people often get stuck because of this. All right, so instead of asking what job should I apply for, the better question is, what skills does that role actually require? Because that's how hiring managers are thinking. So again, they're not hiring titles, they're hiring skills. I don't think I did my resume workshop with you, but what I share in my resume workshop, especially where AI is concerned and resumes are going through that filter, I even say, listen, just put the title of the actual role that you're applying to versus what your current role is, because it doesn't matter. My husband, he has grown in his career. He's gone up that corporate ladder, but sometimes his title really might reflect something like 2 steps, quote unquote, down, even though the responsibilities even though he has greater responsibilities. So again, the title is not as important as the skills that are required for that role. So today we're going to use a simple, repeatable framework that I created, and it's made up of 5 steps to help you identify your desired destination and plot a clear roadmap to gain the skills needed to get there. And I call this the track framework. So if you sat through my last session, you already know I am a nerd when it comes to acronyms, and this is no different. So this is a road, by the way, if I'm doing this, my allergies are killing me. It's pollen season around here, but I didn't want you to think I'm being weird.
No, you're all good.
Okay. So this is a roadmap for this framework, and it's in the right order. It's a high-level overview, but later in the session, I am going to break it down for you. So the T is for target role, and this is where you define the specific role or career path that you aspire to, and that sets a clear direction. R is for required skills. This is where you identify the core competencies, the knowledge, the experience that is needed for your target role. A is for assess current skills. This is where you objectively assess your existing skill set, noting your strengths, your working skills, and your gaps. C is for close the gap. This is where you pinpoint the differences between required skills and the skills that you currently possess. And you're highlighting and prioritizing specific areas for development. And K is for knowledge plan. This is where you develop a strategic roadmap outlining how you will acquire the necessary skills and resources to bridge the gap and applying it to a timeline for accountability. So now let's break down this roadmap by step. So before you start planning what skills to build, it obviously helps to get clear on the type of move that you're actually trying to make, because that clarity makes everything else a lot easier. Most career moves fall into one of 3 categories. And the first category is continuing. This is where you're staying on a similar path, just advancing or deepening your expertise. The next one is expanding. You're growing your scope, taking on broader responsibilities or a bigger role. This is like where promotions come in. And then the last one is pivoting. You're headed in a new direction, moving into a different role, industry, or space altogether. A lot of my mid-career clients who, I'm just using this as an example. I don't know who here is in this role, but I had a client who has been an accountant for the past 20 years. And they're like, you know what, Renee? I don't want to be an accountant anymore. I believe I have some transferable skills, and I just need to know how to apply them to a new, whatever it is. I forgot what industry it was a while ago. I forgot what industry they were going into, but I wouldn't say it was vastly different from accounting, but it really had nothing to do with accounting. It was less financial and more leadership and strategic. But anyway, I digress. There are people who pivot, is what I'm saying. That means you're heading in a new direction. So we're going to talk about how to acquire those skills as well. And depending on the direction you're going in, the skills that you need will look different. So once you've identified your target role, the next step is understanding what it actually requires. And the best way to do this is to review at least 3, I sometimes say 3 to 5, but if you want to keep it simple, 3 job descriptions, and look for patterns. What shows up again and again? Those patterns are what the values for the role that you're aspiring to or the role that you want to grow in. So you look at the skills that show up repeatedly, both technical and soft skills, which by the way, I call critical skills. I don't like calling them soft skills. They're actually critical skills. Pay attention to the tools and platforms that are consistently mentioned, and then look at leadership expectations. Are you expected to influence, lead, or manage? And then finally, look at business outcomes. What are the results that this role is responsible for delivering? And when you do this, the most important skills become much clearer. The next step is to assess your current skills. So you want to think of this as taking an honest inventory of your skills. And the key word here is honest, because this ensures that you're not like underselling yourself, but that you're also not overestimating where you are today. So start by identifying your strengths. These are the skills that you can confidently speak to in interviews, and the ones that you've demonstrated consistently in your work throughout your career. In short, where do you already perform at a high level? Then look at your working skills. These are the areas where you may have some experience, but you know that there's room to grow. And maybe you've applied these skills in certain situations, but not consistently or not at the level required for your next role. That also constitute a working skill. And finally, identify your gaps. These are skills where you have little to no experience today. And these are often the areas that feel really uncomfortable, but they're also the biggest opportunities for growth to exist. The goal here, do not judge yourself. That's not what the goal is here. It's just to get clear on your roadmap. Because once you have that clarity, you can make much more intentional decisions about what to build next. Okay, here's an example. Imagine someone is targeting a new role. They've done their research and they've looked at a few job descriptions and they've started to notice some clear patterns. Across those roles, a few key skills keep showing up: executive communication, strategic leadership, AI platform knowledge, and data storytelling. So now they have a much clearer picture of what the role actually requires. Not just the title, but the skills behind the title. So the next step is to turn that lens inward and ask, where am I today relative to those skills? Because not every skill you identified needs the same level of attention. Some are already strengths and you'll leverage those. Some are working skills and you'll build those over time. And then some are gaps that may need immediate focus depending on your goals. So this is the next step. This particular step is where, again, the honesty comes in. And when you're honest, you can understand what to do with those skills or how to bridge them. So the next step is all about turning this awareness into a clear direction. So let's say that they assess themselves and come to the following conclusion. Executive communication, it's a strength, you're going to leverage that. Strategic leadership, a working skill, you're going to grow upon that. AI platforms, a gap, and data storytelling, also a working skill. So now we have something to work with. It's no longer abstract, it's specific. So at this point, we've done something really important. We've taken the role and we've compared it to where we are today. We can clearly see where we're strong, we can see where we're developing, and we can see where the gaps are. But here's the thing, clarity alone doesn't move you forward. So the next step is about turning these insights into a clear direction. So now we bring it all together by comparing the skills required for the role with the skills you have today. And this is where real insight happens, because once you see the gap clearly, again, you could start making better decisions about where you want to focus. One of the most important things to understand also is that not all skill gaps are equal. Some gaps will prevent you from even being considered for the role, and you need to be honest about that. And while others will simply make you a stronger candidate over time. And that's why it helps to think about your skills in 3 categories. One is foundational skills. These are the ones that you need just to get in the door. You'll see them listed under requirements in job posting and qualifications, and under education and certification requirements as well. So you don't want to debate those. You don't want to say, well, I don't know if I have them. I kind of have them. Like, you really need to be honest about whether those are foundational skills, because you're going to need them to get into the door. The next category is growth skills. These are the skills that help you stand out once you're in the conversation. And you'll commonly see these found under, what do you want to call it? They are the, I'm sorry. It's the gap between, it's not the required skills. Sorry, I'm having a brain fog. It's not the required skills. It's when you look at a job opening, it's like not required, but strongly desired. That's
Plus.
the plus, exactly. So those are, if you have those, that's where you become really compelling. And then there are the stretch skills, the ones that typically develop after you've already stepped into the role. Those are the ones that you aspire to. So while these are important, these stretch skills, they're not the reason why people get hired. You're not going to see them under required skills. When you're looking at a job description, it's one of those things you're going to envision in your head that if I get my foot in the door, I can see where I can learn more. You'll hear it in interviews too. You get your foot in the door, you talk about what your foundational skills are, you're qualified, you talk about the growth skills. This is what separates you from the rest. And then you normally hear your manager, potential manager, talk about what you can aspire to, what the organization is going to give you in order to grow. But this is also where a lot of people get stuck. They spend time trying to learn everything, including stretch skills, before they even apply. But again, the goal isn't to be perfect. The goal is to prioritize which skills you're going to attack depending on your timeline. When it comes to closing the skill gap, you just want to make sure that your timeline, it's going to change your strategy, and you need to adhere to that. So let me go into that with you. So if you're trying to make a move in 30 to 60 days, your focus should only be on the foundational skills. These are the ones that make you credible for the role. If you have a longer runway, say 3 to 6 months, then you can start building growth skills that help you stand out. And stretch skills, again, those are often the ones that you develop once you're already in the role. I have had clients that have either been laid off or they're desperate to get out of their current situation. They want to leave the company and they're noticing opportunities in other areas, or it could even be within their company that they want to grow into. But they want me to help them find the skills to get there in the next 30 days when they don't have even a foundation for it. So the reason I say this is you really need to be realistic. A workshop like this or any other skills development workshop will always give you a timeline if they're going to get specifically into certain skills. Because once you identify that gap, it really helps you to understand how much time it's going to take to get to that either next level or that skill that you're looking to acquire. So all that to say, you do yourself a favor and be really honest about where you are in terms of your knowledge. Speaking of knowledge, this is the step that turns your insight into action. This is your knowledge plan. And it doesn't need to be complicated. It just needs to be clear. So there are 3 things to focus on. First, you want to prioritize your learning. So out of all the skills that you've identified, you want to understand which are the top 1 to 3 that will make the biggest difference in your ability to land the next role. The second is identify how you're actually going to learn those skills. It could be courses, but it could also be projects, hands-on experience, applying the skill in a real world setting, even volunteering. And the key is to think it's to think beyond learning and to focus on opportunities for demonstrating the skill. And the third is set a target date. Ask yourself, how urgent is this? I know I was already on that soapbox, but is this something that you want to build over the next few months? Is this something you need to demonstrate in the next 30 to 60 days? Again, goal here is not perfection. It's building the right skills with enough depth to create momentum in your job search. Excuse me. So when it comes to building skills, there are often more options available than we initially think, but we must be willing to think outside the box. So I want to share a quick example of what this can look like in real life. And this is my own story. So a number of years ago, many years ago, I was looking to build my skills in data analysis. And at the time, there wasn't an opportunity internally where I was to explore it because it just wasn't part of my role. And I also didn't have the budget to invest in courses or formal training. So I had to think a little differently about how I was going to learn. So through some networking, I met a consultant who actually specialized in data analysis. And instead of asking for her for advice or resources, I made a very different, bold kind of ask. I offered myself up as an intern. I asked if I could support her on projects, essentially as free help, in exchange for the opportunity to learn, to ask questions, and gain real experience. And she said yes. She was actually very impressed with how bold I was. She's like, I've never heard anyone say that before or come to me like that. And that experience really ended up being one of the most valuable ways that I developed that skill. Not because I took a course, but because I was actually applying it in real situations. When you are interviewing with companies, they don't care whether or not you were paid to do a particular skill or role. So you want to make sure you're talking about volunteer opportunities, intern opportunities. They just want to know that you can demonstrate that skill with results. The other thing that was really cool about that opportunity is because it was an intern opportunity and I wasn't being paid, it was no risk. Like I was expected to make mistakes. She wasn't giving me work that was like something like a brain, like no one's life was depending on the work I was doing. So I also had that wiggle room to make mistakes and learn from them. So that's why that was also a really cool exchange. So I mentioned this before, volunteer work is another great example, whether it's supporting a nonprofit or a business or a startup. Those environments will often give you the chance to apply skills in ways that you might not be able to in your current role. And just as importantly, they give you something that you can point to. Like I was saying, the real results, the real experience, real impact. Doesn't matter if you aren't being paid for it. Other examples include building your own project or case study. Engineers who I've had as clients love that idea. They're like, really? I get to innovate and create something? And I'm like, yeah, go for it. Collaborating with peers who are trying to learn the same thing, having that, if you're someone who really enjoys community and peer learning, that's another great way to advance your skills. But the key is move from just learning to actually doing. Okay, so now that we've talked about what skills to focus on, the next question is usually, where do I actually go to build them? In addition to thinking outside the box. Because there's no shortage of options out there, and that can feel overwhelming, what I've done is I've actually pulled together a curated list of resources to help you get started. Jason, would it be okay if I email this resource to you after the session and you'll be able to share it with the group?
Sure, and I'm going to pile on that answer too. When you're done with taking us through this, because A, I've got a bunch of questions to ask you. B, somebody from WIT. We were talking about the WIT conference in San Diego before you guys joined, WIT being the sister organization to IAMCP. WIT has this great resource that they've made available to IAMCP and therefore everybody on this call as well. So I'm going to point you guys to that, but I don't want to steal your thunder because you're rolling.
No, that's fantastic. The wider the depth of knowledge out there, the better.
It's so funny that you brought up the idea of skilling today, and I just got this ask from one of the high uppity ups at IMCP. Hey, can you promote this skilling tool? I'm like, sure.
That's amazing. There's so many
Serendipity.
out there. Yeah. And what I do, like a lot of this isn't, it's a proprietary framework, but that's what it is. It's a framework, but it was basically, it's a synthesis of all the other frameworks out there. And I just curated it to make it applicable for finding jobs. So there's so many great resources out there. And again, this includes a mix of free, low cost, paid options. So depending on what makes sense for you right now, you'll see, at least with the resource that I give you, there are a number of them to choose from. Some of them are structured learning platforms like courses and certifications, but others are also more hands-on. So actual ways to apply what you're learning in real world situations. And just like I said earlier, some are community-based where you can learn from others and build connections at the same time. That's actually my favorite way of learning, by the way. The goal isn't, again, for you to use all of these. It's to help you find one or two that align with the skills that you want to build now and start there. Because your aspirations may change over time. You can go back to this resource and use it for an entirely different goal or situation at some point in the future. So it's kind of an evergreen resource. But again, this is 2026. I'm hoping by 2030, this will either be obsolete or there'll be a tremendous amount more opportunities out there. Okay, so this is where I'm going to get a little frazzled because I'm not great with MS Teams. I want to drop a link in the chat if I could find the chat. Where is that?
So you should have a little window that says you should have a separate window for the actual meeting, even though you're kind of sharing and you're sharing out of the web application, right?
Yeah.
Teams on the web. Yeah. So you should still have that window. If you go back to that browser window, it's there and you should see the Teams there. So I'm going to drop a note in here that says, "Hi, Renee." So you can see that, hey, somebody messaged
Oh, great. Okay.
Yep, I've got a link to put in there to pile on what you got.
Perfect. Chat. Oh, there we go. Okay. Good. Yay. All right. I'm sorry, I get excited over just the dumbest things. All right. So here it's not actually a link. I'm sorry. I have to attach something. Is that all right?
Oh, it's an attachment.
Can't do an attachment?
No, that's not going to do because of the security settings we have in here. So that's going to make it problematic.
That's okay. I can still walk you through this.
Okay.
But and just you'll just apply it to the worksheet. Actually, it's really good because I literally copied and pasted the worksheet into this presentation, so it should be pretty easy to follow.
Perfect.
All right.
Because as you were going through this, I was trying to imagine this. I'm like, should we be creating Post-it notes and creating one for the skill and then putting it into these categories? But then you showed us as a table with the strength, the gaps, so I'm like, okay, now I get it.
Yep, this is exactly what's going on to the worksheet. So it's everything I taught you, and it's just step by step. Because that's how I learn best, is step by step. And honestly, it's my ADD. I'm very forthright in saying that. No, I'm dead serious. So like I said, I literally screenshot this from the worksheet. So it's a little blurry, but that's because it's screenshot. So first step, start with your target role. this is your destination. So you want to be as specific as you can. And then identify the type of move that you're making. Are you continuing in a similar role, expanding your scope, pivoting into something new? Because that context matters because it directly impacts the skills that you need.
Renee, I was going to ask you about this because you say choose one.
Mhm.
Now, nobody on this call is a spring chicken, but at some point we have to be like, well, if I choose only one, am I closing off opportunities in another? But I think it's like you, it's really important to take one path. Why is that the case?
Well, that's the thing. It really depends, and this is all timing. It depends on your current situation.
Uh-huh.
Are you saying, I aspire to be in this role? There's not a level of urgency.
Mhm.
And what is your timeline? Do you want to continue? Oh, and in this case, you would be expanding or pivoting, or you love what you're doing. You just want to get better at it. Like I've always been that person. Like titles don't mean anything to me. I don't want to grow vertically up. I've always just wanted, my goal was always to become a subject matter expert. So I want to continue in what I'm doing, but I want to, again, just expand my depth of knowledge, where expand and pivot can be going into different roles. So did I answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yeah, completely.
Okay, so then you've got required skills. So next you're going to look, oh my God, this is not coming up. For some reason, this isn't, I think it's because I'm doing it straight from, oh, sorry.
Can't blame that on Teams. That's Google.
That's freaking Google. Dang it. Okay, let me try this
I
again.
can see
I'm
what
sorry.
it's doing though. It's got a table there.
Yeah.
What are your columns in that table?
You know what I want to
It's
do?
Canva. Okay.
Yeah, you know what I want to do? I'm going to pull it up and that's what I'm going to share with you. So
Okay.
I'm going to just get out of the screen so I can actually share this with you. Bear with me.
While you're doing that, I think I'm starting to see this. So as we're applying for these roles that we want, we can see that those trigger words are coming up, those skill sets, and that's the ones that, like, I was thinking, oh, they kind of go on a post-it note, but really they go into this table format where then you can kind of map them out as to which column they belong in, if they're a core strength that you've got, or if you're kind of working on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the workshop will also outline it pretty well. So speaking of which, let me do that. I'm going to share my screen in just a second. Hold on. God, I was doing so well up till now.
You're still sharing. We can see the worksheet.
Good. No, that's what I want you to see. Perfect.
Okay.
Yep. I just want to make sure I'm walking you through it. So I need my notes to make sure I'm getting everything in there.
Yep.
All righty.
There's target role.
Yep. Nope. You're looking exactly what I want you to look at.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So yes, we did that. We did the target role. Let's move on to required skills. Okay. So this is where you're going to look at 3 different job descriptions. You're not reading them individually. You're looking for patterns across them. So instead of just listing a skill, you're going to organize into 4 different areas. For skills, both technical and soft skills that show up repeatedly, list those. Then you want to, I'm looking at my screen there, you want to identify the tools and platforms. So like what technologies or systems are consistent with what is being mentioned. Then you want to assess your skills. This is where you take the honest inventory of where you are today. Transfer the skills from the table above, put them down into strengths. What do you do well? Working skills, where you have some experience, but there's room to grow. And then the gaps where you've limited or no experience. And then closing the gaps. Let's talk about identifying your top 3 skills. So the top 3 skills, again, will fall into foundational skills, what you need to be considered for the role, the growth skills, and those are the skills that will help you stand out, just like Jason said, not required, but a plus. And then the stretch skills. These are not the skills that you're bringing to the interview as, hey, look what I can do. This is how you're assessing the opportunity. Will this opportunity allow me to stretch my skills? And that's what that's what you're going to learn while you're on the job. And then your knowledge plan. You want to make a simple plan for those skills. And this is where you're going to refer to your skills development resource library that I'll share with Jason. Skill number 1, how will I learn it? And what is the target date? That keeps you accountable as the target date. Same thing for skill number 2 and skill number 3. I will say if I can leave you with one key piece of advice, that would be honest. Be excruciatingly honest with yourself about where your skills are. The last thing you want to do is get into a job where you're going to be bored because you're overqualified. So that, you don't want to urgently take a job just because it's a job. And you don't want to go into an opportunity where you're overqualified because you maybe inflated your skill set. You want something that's just the right balance. You want it to be something you feel you are very well suited for, but will also challenge you. And what again, because my presentation fell apart, I wanted to also tell you that I'm offering a free 30-minute strategy session on bring this worksheet to me. And what we'll do is we'll review it together. We'll confirm if you're heading if it truly reflects the direction you want to go in and the skills that you need to get there. So I will share all of that. Actually, I will just put my Calendly link in here so that you can click on it and make
That is so
an
kind
appointment.
of you to offer that. That's really
Oh,
cool.
of course. I just love talking, so it gives me an opportunity.
But and to compound what Renee's saying here is I come from the learning and development world and instructional design where we see, oh, we've got a new piece of software, something new coming in, new process, new procedure. What she's done in kind of breaking this down is perfect for fitting that mold of trying to decide what's the future state. That's your new role. It's that the path you're taking to get to that destination. Once you know the future state, then what are the skills and knowledge that have to be built to get to that? And then you kind of sequence it, and then you assign the modalities for people to learn from. And that's the knowledge plan that she's showing right here, the different resources. So some of them you can get online, some of you can get through networking. We've talked about that before. Some of you can get it through. It's funny, you mentioned interning. I'm like, there is no age limit for being an intern. We can all go back to apply these skills and build them in the crucible where there's no pressure and nobody coming over here saying, that's wrong, you get out of here. It's all good experimentation. And if you associate it with a project or a cause that you believe in, even better.
Oh, absolutely. And the one thing I didn't mention, shame on me, is if you have an opportunity to find a mentor who's doing this work that you want to do, grab it. There's an organization out there called, and I love it, it's called, here I'm trying to brag about it, but I'm having brain fog. Oh, Upnotch, UP as in Peter, NOTCH. I have made incredible connections there. I've mentored others. I've been mentored by others. And it doesn't have to be someone that you have to have a long-standing relationship with. I can literally go there and say, oh, I want to learn, I want to advance my skills in data analysis. They are a data analysis specialist. They spend some time with me and it's free because everybody just wants to help everybody else. So I don't, how much time do we have left? Do we have time for questions?
Oh, hell yeah, we do. And if
Oh,
nobody
cool.
has them, I have a ton. But I'll turn it out to you, gentlemen.
That was really nice, Renee. I liked how you combined the, think with the end in mind and then the gap analysis. So pretty cool. I just wanted to ask a question specifically around the stretch skills. So I get the foundational and I get the growth and where to find it. So are the stretch skills that we want to develop independent of the roles? Is it found somewhere in the role descriptions? Sorry, I wasn't quite sure how that kind of fit in.
Sure. No, and I could see where that gets confusing. Stretch skills, they are the skills that you normally develop on the job. So the reason I put it in there, and actually you bring up a good point because I could actually separate it and talk about the skills that you need to bring to the table versus the skills that you are hoping to get while you're on the job. When you are in an interview and you have shown them that you have the foundational skills, you've even had the growth skills, you've wowed them with the growth skills, what you can then hear from them is, by being part of this job, by being part of this company in this role, here is what you can look forward to learning. And that also will help you better understand if it makes the opportunity whole for you. Like, oh, yeah, that's something I would be interested in learning. So the stretch skills are more of, what would I like to learn while being in a role, while being in a position, and see if that opportunity does that for you. Does that answer your question? Because I felt like I was rambling.
No. That makes perfect sense. So these are things that we want to pick up. And ideally speaking, they should be tied to the role because that's how you're going to be picking up by executing that role.
Exactly.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. What else?
I'm going to throw mine in here if you don't mind. So I think it's really interesting how the shift has happened, as you mentioned, between titles and skills. And so now the push is for all this skilling, and rightly so, because the advent of artificial intelligence and some of these emerging technologies have broken there's no title for what they're doing. So we have to kind of accommodate to it. One of the things that's been made available, as I mentioned again, the WIT Network, Women in Tech, the sister organization, the IAMCP, just had their conference down in San Diego, their National Igniting Excellence. So they've
amazing.
Oh, I'm so jealous. I'll have to keep that to myself though. They have collaborated with IBM to basically bring you a free training library. It looks like this. So this is IBM Skills Build. The only reason I'm in here is because I saw this and registered for it. All types of foundation for understanding AI. There's an AI level up assessment you can do. So you can even have the tool help you understand what skills you need to build between here and there. Professional skills, career management essentials. And then if you kind of roll down here, there's all kinds of different recommendations. So if you're after like a job role, you can use the tool to help map that for you. Web development, JavaScript, professional, like kind of everything's in here. And it's all powered by AI to make it easy for you to use. So I'm going to send you this deck that kind of explains it in some more detail. Why upskilling matters. We already understand that. And then the comparison versus like LinkedIn Learning and some of these other things that are out there. So you can take advantage of it, along with this one sheet that says basically here's how you do it to unlock your Skills Build account, the link for it. And I'll send that all out to you so you have access to it, along with what Renee sends me of her the link to her calendar. Oh, we already have that right here, but the worksheet, and then she can provide that assessment of you. You can compound it, or maybe go to the tool and have it do some with you. Then you can bring that all in to Renee, and she can guide you.
I would love that actually. There are so many fantastic resources out there. I can't emphasize enough. Don't try to learn everything at once. And again, like once you have that job and then it's like, okay, what can I do for my stretch skills? And is that, again, it's something that the job can give you, or you can even look at these resources and say, all right, the next step for me is this, but I have time to get there. So let's work on those stretch skills. And I was going to share just one other resource, and that is find, no, I think that's along the lines of mentoring. I was going to say, find someone who's doing what you're doing, what you want to do, and just ask them how they got there. That's the other thing. That was it. Because WIT Network was showing they have sort of an app to show you what the journey looks like to get there. Ask people who are doing it what their journey was. Like, does it make sense for me to take this course? Do you have a better course? And the networking is going to be your most powerful tool out there.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that, because the next thing we're going to talk about is the networking events that are coming up. So I don't want to steal any thunder, but that's what's on the deck.
No, I'm
So-
glad it was a good segue.
Oh, okay. Let me go back to it then. So tomorrow, there's the PMI, this Project Management International OC Joint Networking Mixer with IAMCP SoCal out in Newport. They've got different stations for like interviewing, resume building. They have a photographer coming by. So if you want to kind of refresh your job search, that's a great way to kind of do that. Bounce some ideas off of people. Maybe find somebody who can help illuminate that career path for you. That same day, Orange County Technology Professionals has their mixer in Prego. So you have to choose one or the other. April 2nd, that's the first Thursday of the month. That's our SoCal chapter meeting. So you know the drill on that. You've all been to it at the Microsoft Irvine office. There's a conference down in downtown LA in May for the Association of Talent Development. And I don't know if that directly relates to any of your paths. Cyrus, I think of you as networking and infrastructure. And Jerry, I think of you as like project and transformation. And maybe I don't have that pegged quite correctly, but there might be an event for that somewhere along the line to connect to. Maybe there's a conference or something. Do you guys have any additional ones to add to the list? I'll grab the links as I have them, and I'll put them here into chat.
I will share that Upnotch has they call speed networking events online, where they put you into breakout rooms and they give you like prompts that you could talk about just to break the ice. But I've met some phenomenal people, and it's a great place to talk to people about who you are, what you do, and you never know if you're talking to a hiring manager that's like, oh, I was going to post for this job, but I want to talk to you first.
Nice. Any others you guys have to share?
I just wanted to ask Renee, besides Upnotch, if you have any kind of useful resources like this. Renee, please keep us posted with other ones.
Absolutely. Like I said, the resource that I'm giving you is pretty thorough, and it tells you like, here are free resources, here are lower cost resources, here are higher cost resources, and then, but the more you can think outside the box, it actually becomes fun.
You know, Renee, the difference between when someone like you recommends something and then versus we go research about something is that when we research something, and if you notice, all of them, they say we are the best. we get confused. Oh yeah, which one is really the best? But when you recommend something that you are in this position for a long time, that would be very helpful.
Well, I am not a gatekeeper. I will share anything and everything I have.
Thank you, Renee.
At the same time, I don't know everything. So just like Jason said, if you look at that list and there are other resources, please feel free to add.
Very cool. What else do we have here? Oh, I can't believe how the universe works sometimes. I had no idea. I had no idea this was going to merge together. So yeah. You guys see all of this. Thank you, WIT Network. Oh, this one was a question for all of you. So how do you go about preparing for an interview? Give me your 3 steps that you go about doing it. Jerry.
Obviously read up on the role and
Mhm.
kind of do the star stuff, right? So for the
Mhm.
different things that they're looking for, have those stories kind of ready.
Yep.
Also read up on the company, and
Yes.
the individuals that are going to be
Yes.
talking to you, so you have some context about what they were going to be asking and the background. And then the third thing is ensure that we have good questions for them so that they have an understanding that we have done our homework, and hopefully just by asking questions, you can start to demonstrate your line of thinking and why you might be a fit.
Bingo. And what can you use to help you with that research?
So probably a few things. One is there's always the LLMs that are out there, whatever you want to use. Secondly, there's just kind of general internet things that you can do, company information like their 401ks, Glassdoor, anything, any other things that they might be using. And then there are also the paid ones. So the one I think that you were going to try to reach out to, Jason, Callings.ai, as an
Oh
example.
yeah, I got to follow up with him.
Yeah, there's other stuff like that to also help us prepare. And of course, if we know anybody who works at the company through our networks or people who know people, et cetera, we can reach out to those people for background.
Perfect. Yep. So research the interviewer. Try to, if you can, understand the department if that's available. Like there's no way. This is where I usually lean on something. And so I put a link into chat for like how to use Copilot chat. It's pointing out these very items. Creating some questions that you think they're going to ask you about this role and about you in that role. And you use Copilot to do that. And then, just like you said, you got your success stories, which are tied to the key bullet points on your resume, creating answers for those questions you expect them to ask you, so, and tie them right back to those success stories, same way. So you can create from that like a basic FAQ document that has all those Q's and A's in them. And then don't forget to send your thank you email. Yeah, good stuff. Gosh,
May
that's
I
it.
add?
Yeah.
Okay. Mock interviewing, and I know there's AI tools that do that, but if you can get in one-on-one with somebody and do some mock interviewing, they can also give you some feedback on posture, on nonverbal cues and language. The other thing is, and everyone goes into interviews and they want to be prepared and they want to show their best self. But remember, you're also interviewing the company, and it's really important to assess if they are able to support how you do your best work. And this is exactly what I did my presentation on at the WIT conference, and it was called Finding Your Love Language at Work. And it's those, yeah. And the tagline is, so you say this job looks good on paper. Well, so did your ex. But what it is it uncovers your your work love language is those hidden motivators that shape how you show up to work. And it's different for everyone. Jason, if you ever want me to do this workshop for this group, I'd be very happy to. But it helps you generate questions that allow you to understand if this is actually a fit. It takes a lot of guts to be like, ooh, the role looks great. The opportunity for growth sounds great, but do I have the right manager? Do I have the top 3 things that I need to be able to do my best work. And that's what this actually helps you uncover.
It's good advice. Hey, it seems we're here at time. So, Renee, thank you for coming by so much. It's always great to see you.
Thank you for having me. Always happy to present on any number of topics, and it's wonderful to see everyone again. And please take advantage of the of reaching out to me so we can look at your skill mapping together.
Terrific.
All
Thank
right.
you. Good to
Take
see
care,
you,
everyone.
gentlemen.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take care now.
Thank you.
Bye.